Onnested, Alquist, Ashburn, Calderon, Cedillo, Cogdill, Corbett, Correa, Cox, Denham, DeSaulnier, Ducheney, Dutton, Flores, Hancock, Harmon, Hollingsworth, Huff, Kehoe, Leno, Liu, Lowenthal, Maldonado, Negrete McLeod, Oropesa, Padilla, Pavley, Price, Romero, Runner, Smidian, Steinberg, Strickland, Walters, Wiggins, Wolk, Wright, Weiland, Yee. Mr. President, a quorum is present.
Members, a quorum is present. Would the members and guests beyond the rail and in the gallery please rise? We'll be led in prayer this afternoon, by our guest chaplain, Reverend Dexter McNamara. After which, please remain standing. We'll be led in the Pledge of Allegiance today by Senator Liu.
Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you this afternoon. Karen Armstrong wrote, "All the world religions insist that no spirituality is valid unless it results in practical compassion." As we move into this new year and this new decade, my prayer for all of us would be this: may we be open to mystery and wonder and awe that surrounds us, and may we be attentive to the need and the pain and the hurt of people throughout our state. May we take time to listen to deep calling to deep in our own lives, of the yearning of our own spirits for grounding and meaning and hope. And may we be guided by compassion to bring about practical and significant actions that will have positive impacts on this state and all the people we work for. May we seek the good and the right, and may we be open to God's Spirit calling us to life. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Appreciate that. Members, privilege of the floor, Senator Correa.
Thank you. Request permission to have a special guest on the floor, my daughter Amelia.
Welcome to the Senate, so granted. Members, any other special recognitions? We'll move on to messages from the Assembly. Mr. Secretary, will you please read?
Mr. President, I am directed to inform your honorable body that the Assembly amended and on this day passed Senate Bill 55 and respectfully request your honorable body to concur in said amendments.
On reports on committee, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Mr. President, the chair of the Committee on Business, Professions, and Economic Development, to which was referred Senate Bill 275. The chair of the Committee on Appropriations, to which was referred Senate Bill 553, Senate Bill 806, Senate Bill 467, Senate Bill 110, Senate Bill 67, the Committee on Natural Resources and Water, to which was referred Senate Bill 672 and Senate Bill 808.
On consideration of the daily file, we'll go to the second on motions and resolutions. Members, without objection, the following measures will be re-referred to committee and/or file: SB 657, 438, SB 732, 677, and 233, and Assembly Bills 234, 511, and Assembly Bill 458. Senator Liu, you're recognized at your desk.
Thank you. Under motions and resolutions, at the request of the author, please remove file item number A41. It's AB 548 Krikorian from the inactive file.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Liu. Members, we're on introduction of the first reading of bills. Mr. Secretary, will you please read?
Senate Bill 834 by Senator Flores, an act relating to court orders. Senate Bill 835 by Senator Strickland, an act relating to government reorganization and making an appropriation therefore. Senate Bill 836 by Senator Oropesa, an act relating to breast cancer screening.
The bills are deemed read. We are now on consideration of the daily file. We have item 1 under second reading file. Will the Secretary please read?
Senate Bill 316 by Senator Alquist with amendments.
Members, is there any other business to come before the Senate? Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon to everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Hope everyone got a little bit of rest, and we're back here excited and positive about a new year. A couple of things, a couple of announcements. Number one, we're going to have a called Democratic Caucus immediately after the session in the Maddie Lounge. Secondly, I want to inform the membership that tomorrow there will be a session on the call of the pro tem with the probability of taking up the remaining work on the education special session, as well as important matters relating to the State Bar of California. So might be prepared for that. Depending upon the Assembly's action on the education front, we'll determine the time. And then finally, I'd like to adjourn in the memory of Bill Kavala, who was a renowned political consultant, and maybe even more than a political consultant, a political scientist. Because Bill was a formal PhD. He earned that doctorate. But in the parlance of the politics we know about, he was also a political scientist and a doctor, because he was a master of the art. He understood the importance of micro-targeting, the importance of candidates for office relating to people from where they came, not just from where the candidate or politician thought they should come from. He represented, I know, a number of members in this chamber, and certainly members who came before, and he was highly regarded, not only by the people who knew and loved him, but by any of the masters of the craft. And after all, that's what, in many respects, what we do. We are part of a craft, whether it's lawmaking, whether it's political campaigns. And to know people who, whether you agree or disagreed with them, whether you're on their side or the other side, but people who practice that craft with great skill and great expertise, that's something special and something to remember in Bill Kavala. In addition to the fact that he was a kind man, and he always took it upon himself to mentor younger people and people who were up and coming. He died suddenly at age 66, the day before Christmas. And we want to adjourn in his memory here today on behalf of Bill Kavala. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Steinberg. Senator Kehoe.
And I would just like to add to Senator Steinberg's comments, Bill Kavala was my consultant in my assembly races, and prior to that, I didn't know him at all, but he was legendary, and you'd hear, oh, Kavala says this and Kavala says that. When I got to know him, of course, the pronouncements were a lot more focused and less sweeping than legend had it beforehand. But In San Diego, he did such a good job for us and worked on, really designed the campaigns for me and many of my predecessors, going back to Lucy Calais and Mike Gotch, Susan Davis, Dee Dee Alpert, and he will really be missed in my community, and we hope that he's remembered here for a long time.
Thank you, Senator Kehoe. Senator Romero, you're recognized at your desk.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Members, I also rise in asking us to adjourn in the memory of a young man. You might have seen his image on CNN. This was Bobby Salcido, a young 33-year-old resident of a community which I represent, an assistant principal at a local high school, a coach, and he had been just recently reelected to the El Monte Union High School District. A young man, 33, he was studying for his doctorate in education leadership at UCLA. And it's one of those sad stories, wrong place, wrong time. He was visiting with his wife, somebody he's been in love with for a couple of years. They were in their native, her native homeland of Durango, Mexico, when the reality of the drug war hit home. He was celebrating with friends and his wife that evening. People broke into the restaurant. He was abducted, shot point blank, execution style, left for dead in a canal. His wife safely made it home. Members, 33 years old. When we talk to our children about the drug trade, I think it's important for us, when it really does hit home for us, that it's real. Bobby Salcido, a good friend, somebody that we knew and cherished and was a bright, shining star in our neighborhood and an education leader. So I ask you to join us in calling upon our government to demand justice, the Mexican officials to find his killers and bring them to justice, and I ask you to join me in adjourning today's session in his memory and a commitment really to ending this drug war that we find that penetrates and hurts the lives of so many people on either side of this border. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Romero. Senator Cedillo.
You know, the headlines will say that Bobby Salcedo was perhaps the first American elected official who has fallen victim to this war on drugs, to what Hillary Clinton called this insatiable appetite that we Americans have for drugs. He is the first American elected official killed in this war. That's what the headlines will tell you. What they won't tell you is how beloved Bobby was. His commitment to social justice and compassion, his belief and hope in this country. Bobby was a man destined to stand on this floor, maybe perhaps in the governor's office. He was a bright star with a bright future. He was a man loved by his family, by his community, by all those who came to encounter him. Him and his brother have set a template for hard work and discipline. They were living the American dream. Children of immigrant parents, people who were here taking advantage of any opportunity they could get. He was educated in the Cal State system, master's from Cal State San Bernardino, working on his doctorate at UCLA. Vice principal, teacher, school board member, re-elected, husband, brother, son. I spoke with the family on Saturday. I could not tell you the pain, the numbing pain that exists for that family and for that community. I shared with the father my loss, the need for faith in God, his graciousness, his love, and his tremendous sense of justice. There's some reason and some rhyme to our loss of Bobby Salcedo, but it's beyond our comprehension. It's beyond our understanding, and it's beyond our reason, because his loss is not just the loss to his family and his community, but it's a loss to all of us in this nation and in this world. He is the first elected American official to be lost to this drug war, he should be the last. We should do all that we can in the memory of his short life to make sure that we combat this insatiable appetite that exists for drug use and drug abuse, drug consumption on this side of the border. Because only when we end the consumption side will the supply side dry up. Only then will we be able to bring some meaning and some value to this tragic loss of this great young man. I also ask that we close in the memory of Bobby Salcedo.
Thank you, Senator Cedillo. Members, seeing no other business, Senator Simitian, you're recognized at your desk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to ask that we also adjourn in memory of Paul Seamus. I'll have the paperwork brought forward so that his passing may be properly commemorated. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Simitian. Senator Walters.
I have 2 adjourned memories.
Yes.
Mr. President, it is with great sadness that I rise today to adjourn in the memory of Nancy Bergeson, daughter of former State Senator Marion Bergeson. Nancy was tragically murdered at her home in Portland on November 24, 2009. She was born in Logan, Utah, to Garth and Marion Bergeson and grew up in Newport Beach, California. Nancy served as a federal public defender in Oregon. She developed a passion for athletics by running marathons, climbing mountains, skiing, skydiving, and dragon boat racing. Nancy will be sorely missed. She is survived by her daughter Jamie, parents Marion and Garth Bergeson, siblings Garth Jr., Julian James, nephews Alex, Max, Tim, and Hayden, and nieces Kimberly, Katie, Shannon, Allie, Andrea, and Danielle. And Mr. President, I have another adjourn in memory, and it is with great sadness that I rise today to adjourn in the memory of Ron Young. Ron was born on January 20th, 1941 at Orange County Hospital and grew up in the city of Santa Ana. Through the years, Ron worked and lived in Orange County, dedicating his life to serving the community he loved and becoming actively involved in local politics. In 1976, Ron married the love of his life, Mary. Ron and Mary have spent the past 19 years giving back to the community through their involvement with various organizations and causes to improve Orange County, as well as the state of California. Ron passed away on December 16, 2009. He was a leader in the community, a role model for so many, and a good friend. He will be terribly missed. Ron is survived by his adoring wife, Mary, and her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchild who love Ron immensely, and I ask that we adjourn in his memory.
Thank you, Senator. Members, any other items come before the Senate? Senator Huff.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to invite all members to the newly reorganized Capitol Bible Study being held Wednesday morning, room 125 at 8 a.m. You may recall there's been a couple of groups, a fellowship and a Bible study that are merging. We believe into a newer and improved version, and everybody is welcome. We'd love to see you there. 8 o'clock Wednesday, room 125. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Any other business for the Senate, members? Seeing, hearing none, the Senate will stand in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene on Thursday at 9 a.m. We'll be, the Pro Tem mentioned. We will be upon call of the Pro Tem tomorrow, pending the Pro Tem's wishes.
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Pro Tem.
You said it exactly right. But I just want to add, for purposes of your schedules and planning, that we will reconvene, of course, Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock for a joint session. Then we'll meet in the Senate chamber and walk over to the Assembly for the Governor's State of the State address. We should convene here about 9:45 a.m.
Okay. Members, the Senate will stand in recess, and we will, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. The Senate is now in recess.